This morning was crazy. I have to tell you guys this first before I get started. So I wake up at 4 a.m. I'm here downtown by 6:30 a.m. I said, you know what? I have time to waste. Let me go get a Starbucks. I get out the car, my left ankle gives out, and I break my heel. Bruise my side. I can't make this up. So I rush back home to change clothes. I'm fighting traffic, and I literally just got here probably like 5 minutes ago. So if I know anything, I know that I was meant to be here today, and I was meant to deliver this message and tell my story. So I am here, and I'm going to do just that. When your circumstances give you every right to think you can't, stop. Dig deep, search until you can find a way to believe. Yes, you can. But Ebonii, your mom is a drug addict. Your father, he died chained to a hospital bed as a convicted felon. I still can. You still can. You walk in a room with hopes to inspire, and you don't own the highest degree. Yes, you're right. However, what I do own is my story, my adversity, my struggles, confident and bold. It has given me an unmatched work ethic, making it hard to miss the greatness in me. I can. You can. You don't deserve this opportunity when there were times when you could barely afford to make it every day. Listen, at 14, I stayed up late nights working hard to feed my brother and sister, doing homework before the sun met their eyes, passing every class. That fire, that grit that I had then, still burns the same today. I can, and you can. What makes you think you are qualified to stand here and teach hundreds of people anything when life has thrown nothing but lemons your way? Where life went wrong is allowing me to discover my superpower, our greatest strength, and that is the ability to manifest, to choose what I want to believe, what I want to see, given my circumstances or what anyone has to say. I can, you can. When your circumstances give you every right to think you can't, stop, dig deep, and search until you can find that superpower and choose to believe, yes, you can. Thank you. Wow. It's almost been 20 years since I stood up here. I spend a lot of time speaking to kids about making the choice to manifest a positive outlook. I always start with that statement of belief to remind myself what I've overcome. Looking back, I fought so hard to reach this destination. I'm proof that where we start in life doesn't dictate where we'll end up. That's especially when there's someone to show you the path to new possibilities. Growing up, I didn't believe that there were any options outside of what I saw around me. There was no one in my life that knew anything different besides struggling, survival, drugs, gangs, and violence. In my reality, I was only going to be successful upon graduation if I received Section 8, which is government housing assistance, food assistance, and associated myself with top gang members who sold drugs. That was the reality for me. This is how my father and aunt survived in my neighborhood. I remember my walk to school like it was yesterday. 6 a.m., that alarm went off. I woke up to make my family breakfast. I made sure my sisters and brothers were dressed and their homework was done. I scurried off to what seemed like a second shift of work because the night before there were people knocking at my basement window looking for drugs, and I needed to tell them ain't nothing happening. Code word for we don't have any drugs at the time. On my 10-minute walk to school, I was harassed by drug addicts who needed a fix more than they needed life. I could never escape the thoughts of conversations I overheard at night the night before regarding someone I knew being killed and a plan for retaliation. And right before the doors to Manual High School were in sight, I was always met by a man who referred to me as cornbread, referring to my shape. He always told me I didn't need to go to school, offered to buy me expensive things and shoes that I wanted, and told me that he could provide an escape to all of this. I kept walking. I made it just in time. I take my seat and the bell rings. It's time to focus. This was my life. This was my reality every day. Then I met Krista. Krista Lyons was my Denver Kids educational counselor. Krista saved my life. She never made excuses for me or allowed me to make them for myself. She taught me that any and everything that happens to you can be used for a higher purpose if you allow it to be. She taught me the importance of growing through what you go through. Krista taught me how to choose a positive mindset regardless of my circumstances. She exposed me to people who also adopted this mindset and went beyond their circumstances and accomplished things I didn't think were possible coming from where I'm from. These people looked just like me and came from the same neighborhood I did. That was one of the most refreshing, life-changing feelings I remember in high school. While being in Denver Kids, I had the opportunity to work at a minority real estate-owned firm on Welton Street. This experience inspired and birthed 12 years of success in real estate for myself as an adult. A real estate success including employing, owning, and operating my own real estate firm in the heart of Cherry Creek, where I saw that same minority couple close deals at land title almost every day. Another experience I remember and hold dear to my heart is the opportunity to be a part of the Burt Foundation. At 17 years old, I would meet and sit with doctors, attorneys, and CEOs on a quarterly basis, reviewing large binders of almost 500 Title I after-school programs to determine which we would provide grants to. Through this experience, I was able to play a large role in funding an after-school program I was a part of called DREAM. DREAM was an after-school program Krista introduced me to that allowed me the opportunity to visit colleges all over Colorado. I remember the program director sadly announcing that this would be the last year she could sustain DREAM. After her announcement, I pulled her to the side and said, "Let me talk to my people and see what I can do." She looked at me and smiled and laughed and said, "I love your drive." When she got the call that her program had been funded for the next 5 years by the Burt Foundation, she then pulled me to the side with this confused look, tears in her eyes, and gave me the biggest hug and said, "I spoke to your people." She told me I had a gift to network and bring people together for a greater cause. This birthed and inspired the work I do now in the community. I'm a part of influential nonprofit organizations like Urban Leadership Foundation of Colorado and Denver Rotary. Shout out to Club 31 in the building. I sit on boards for Second Chance Center, a nonprofit that's led by Hassan Latif and is dedicated to helping the formerly incarcerated successfully transition into society. If you don't know Hassan, you need to. In my professional life, I'm currently the CEO and owner of a consulting firm called iVise. We design and activate programs for organizations focused on promoting health and wellness in the community. By community, that can be internally and externally. We focus on 4 key areas: strategic growth, human resources, marketing, and technology. I've had the opportunity to design and activate programming for top executives at multi-billion-dollar organizations such as Kaiser, Ball Aerospace, and Universal Health Services. Everything I am, everything I stand for, all that I do stems from what Krista Lyons, my Denver Kids educational counselor, instilled in me. The reality is, there's no changing where we come from, the environment in which we are placed in, and the circumstances we fight to thrive in. There is no changing any of that. But what we can change is how we choose to see and deal with those things. That is impossible without programs like Denver Kids, who provide young people with life-changing leaders like Krista, who help kids widen their lenses to see many options and opportunities available to them. As you can see, Krista's influence and impact on my life has lasted well beyond the day I crossed the stage to accept my high school diploma. Her steady guidance and unwillingness to let me fail helped me cement my place in this world as a leader, innovator, and entrepreneur. I know I can do anything today, no matter how many times I fall, like this morning, because Krista told me so. Krista is actually in the audience, and it's the first time I've seen her since graduation. I haven't seen her yet, so Krista, can you stand up? If you could please keep standing. I would like to take just a moment to thank you. I don't think you know how much I looked up to you. Said I wasn't gonna get emotional. It's been literally 18 years since I've seen her. You were my educational counselor, but I looked up to you as more than that. You were a superwoman to me. Classy, confident, and successful. You were more like a mother figure to me. There was no other woman that I saw that looked like you and carried herself like you that I aspired to be like. I watched how you talked, I watched how you walked, and I watched how you dressed. You helped shape me into the virtuous woman I am today. I've thought about you as I experienced all of my successes and even failures in my life. I thought, Krista would be so proud of me, or Krista wouldn't think that was a good idea. I've never forgotten you. For your lasting impression, I am forever grateful. Thank you. I appreciate you. I want to leave you all with a thought and a question. If you knew you had the keys to unlock greatness in a child, just like Krista did for me, would you? Each of you in this room have the power to do just that. Because of donors, many of whom which might be in this room, I stand before you today as an on-time graduate, high school graduate, a college graduate, a CEO, a philanthropist, a humanitarian, a community doer, engager, and most importantly, a mother of 2 boys. There are children out there just like me who need advocates just like Krista to ignite their potential. I hope you'll invest in their futures like so many have invested in mine. It wasn't that I don't want to just ask. It's not that I want you to only think about what you will invest. I also want you to really, really believe in your hearts and put that belief also in that envelope. Let a child know at your table, I believe in you and you can do it. Yes, you can. At this moment, I just want to thank everyone. Denver Kids, thank you for this opportunity to share my story. Thank you all for your ears. My only hope is that it is inspired to make a difference. Students, thank you in advance for choosing to see and believe the bright future that lies ahead of you. I am rooting for you. Thank you.
I pushed to the limits. I climbed every wall. I keep on believing.
Give her a hand one more time. And thank you, Miss Krista. That